Good morning, Northeast Kansas. John Robison, your host here. Glad to bring you today a tour of a local Lawrence business, which is absolutely appropriate for National Beer Day. It's Fields Ivy Brewery, right on 23rd Street in Lawrence. Fields Ivy is a fantastic place to catch some food, catch the game, get a drink, and for my money, has one of the best outdoor patios in all of Kansas. I have spent many an afternoon out on that patio. But enough talking about it, let's go in right now. Well, Northeast Kansas at home, it is National Beer Day, and in honor of that, I came to my favorite place to drink beer. That's right here in Lawrence, Fields Ivy Brewery. I am here with Derrick Broeckelman. He's the general manager of Fields Ivy. Derrick, thanks for being here on the show.
Yeah, happy you could make it.
Now, it's National Beer Day. I'm going to assume most people have had a beer if they're of a certain age. But, you know, the beer you have here is different from just like Budweiser.
Sure.
Yeah, so what's the difference between what you've got here and what you might get, I don't know, at a party and out of the back of someone's truck?
What our brand is different compared to a lot of other places is that we have an agricultural background as well. So we use some different types of wheat varieties, a few different types of corn varieties, grown in Franklin County, Kansas, just south of Baldwin, and we take that grain and we brew Kansas beer with it.
So the beer that is served here, it's been in Kansas its whole life.
Yeah, so we have a few different styles of beer. In fact, one of our top sellers, our War Boys American Lager, is grown with a corn variety that's actually indigenous to Douglas County, Kansas. It started here in like 1948.
So the War Boys, it's about as Kansas as you can get.
Kansas grain for Kansas beer.
I was born and raised in Kansas, so
yeah.
This beer should speak to every cell in my body.
Yeah, it's pour one. Okay. So well.
Now, these taps aren't even labeled, so you have to know wherever you're going.
I always joke around that if you pour the wrong one, we just make sure it gets taken care of. So. Yeah, this is our War Boys American Lager. Very light, clean, crisp style beer.
Take a look at that.
It's brewed with a silver heirloom mine corn that we plant, grow, and harvest. We get it malted and then brew beer with it here down in the brewery. All right, cheers!
Oh, I love that. That's really nice.
Should be light and refreshing. It's one of the lightest beers that we brew here. One of our flagship beers too. So you can always find it on tap here at Fields Ivy Brewery, and then we also distribute throughout the state of Kansas and into Missouri as well.
I have seen the War Boys in some stores out there. Yeah. Now, would you say that this is one of your more popular beers that you serve?
Yeah, absolutely. The great thing about being a brewery in Kansas or even in the Midwest is that craft beer is still relatively young and new out here. The culture is. And so you do get a lot of domestic beer drinkers here in Kansas. And so this is a great way to introduce them to craft beer. Someone that doesn't like really hoppy beer or really dark beer, this is a great beer to introduce them to what we do here.
So this is sort of your entree. It's your way of weaning somebody from a mass-produced beer into something a little higher quality.
Yeah, it's a great beer to watch a game with after you get done mowing the grass, go fishing. It's just a really easy drinking beer.
I gotta say, I'm normally not a fan of general American lagers, but this one's pretty darn good. I like it. Yeah. So you're talking about craft beer. Can you tell us, what does craft beer even mean?
Craft beer would be associated with smaller breweries. What we have here is a 20-barrel brew system with 40-barrel fermenters, which is a decent-sized brewery compared to some of the other craft breweries that are out there that use a lot smaller systems.
I was about to say that I have one of the best jobs in the world, but then I came here and I'm standing next to you.
You're around beer all day long.
Yeah. If you're ever having a bad day, the beer's close. So.
So while we're finishing up this, tell us a little bit about some of the other beers that you might experience here.
Sure, yeah. One of our best sellers, if not our best seller, is our Hazy IPA, which is our Breezdale. This is a very, very popular style in the craft beer world right now, and something that is really sought after from craft beer enthusiasts. And so we did our own version of the style, and like I said, it's probably our best seller out there.
The Hazy IPA.
Correct.
Yeah.
Hazy, as you'll see, it is unfiltered compared to a filtered beer.
Yeah.
So IPA would be the style of it. What you're going to get off of our Breezdale and a lot of other hazy IPAs is hop bitterness, but you're also going to get a bunch of different tropical fruit flavors from the hops that we use in the beer. So you should get pineapple and mango and all these other fun tropical fruit flavors that the hops put out. So even someone that's not necessarily an IPA drinker can find appreciation for the style. So.
I find that people, they feel very strongly one way or another about IPAs.
Yeah.
They either really like it or they really don't.
Sure.
Not too much in between.
Yeah. And, even for more traditional IPA drinkers, when the style came out, a lot of it was West Coast style IPAs, which are known to be more bitter and more piney than tropical fruit flavors. We also have a beer for that too, which is a great seller for us. It's our Call River Roller, which is our double IPA. And this one isn't going to be a hazy IPA, so you can see the clarity on it compared to the hazy IPA. And this is the beer that I recommend for more traditional IPA drinkers. So,
And
also a beer that is one of our flagships and goes out to distribution for us.
I know I've seen this in the stores as well. Yes. All right. Now I did drive here, so I can't drink all of these, but I might taste one or two of them. So, all right. I would like to taste the hazy one, I think.
Sure.
All right, here goes. That is good. I see what you're talking about with the tropical fruit flavors. But it doesn't have the IPA, the hoppy flavor so much.
Yeah, it's a little bit more subtle. A little easier drinking is what people would say to it. But like I said, this is probably one of the most popular craft beer styles out there in the market right now.
I have to say, as a person that generally doesn't drink IPAs, I would drink this one. Yeah.
Like I said, we distribute throughout the state of Kansas, into the Missouri side, mainly the KC metro area. But I've got friends all over the state and some very not so well known areas of Kansas that have found our beers at local liquor stores. And so I think if you can find it at some of the smaller towns in Kansas, I think we're bringing the craft beer culture to all Kansans.
So, I think next we are about to head into the brewery itself, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Maybe a little louder down there. Sounds like they're running one of the pumps, but
yeah,
we can show you guys the brew house and what we do down there. So
great. So this is how the sausage gets made. If by sausage, I mean beer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's go try.
It's the cute pet of the day. We've got a great one for you today. I'd love to introduce you to Bellatrix Fromage Kartoffelpuffer Lugosi, or Bella for short. Bella lives in Lawrence, Kansas with her owners, Jason and Andrea. Bella is on constant lookout for bunny interlopers, ever vigilant in her sworn quest to keep bunnies out of the yard or in her tummy. You can have your cute pet on Cute Pet of the Day. Send your pictures and a little description to NEKatHome@gmail.com.
So here we go. What an impressive looking room with a whole bunch of stainless steel. Derrick, do you spend a lot of time in this room?
Not as much as the guys over there.
Yeah.
But yeah. A lot of planning and commitment definitely went to this. So.
Because you have to have a certain amount of knowledge to really operate this machinery.
Yeah, and our brewers, who I'll introduce here shortly, are fantastic craftsmen. They really are fantastic brewers and just really know their craft and just make really wonderful beer that I'm proud to serve every day. So this is our 20-barrel brew house from Portland Kettle Works. We have a 4 different vessel brew house, starting with the mash tun, the ladder system, the brew kettle, and then finally the whirlpool. So this is really where the magic happens. Today we're not brewing beer. It sounds like we're doing a lot of cleaning, which is also a very important part of the brew system, is having clean vessels. So we're not actively brewing anything today, but if you head over this direction,
Yeah.
this is our fermentation tanks where the beer goes to get the last final ingredient added to it, which is yeast, and where fermentation will happen. If you come over here, you'll actually see active fermentation happening. So a natural byproduct of fermenting beer is it puts off CO2. So that's what comes out of these hoses down here during fermentation. What's happening is the yeast is eating up all of the fermentable sugar enzymes in there, and that's what creates the fun stuff in beer that we call alcohol. And really, this is where the whole thing actually starts, is in the milling room. This is where we add all of the ingredients as far as the malt goes, and that's what gets transferred up to the mash tun, and that's where the brewing starts.
So this is where you add the ingredients?
For the malt, at least.
For the malt.
The hops are added during the boil, and then the yeast is added later during once it gets transferred to the fermentation tanks. But yeah, this is where one of the main ingredients of the beer gets started. And it goes into this grinder here. We use this because we do corn-based beers, like our War Boys. And so we actually have to crack the kernel open to get the best possible amount of the sugar enzymes that we can out of the corn kernel, and so that's why it has to go through here. Yeah, so this is our bottling line. Obviously, with the space that we have to use here, you have to move a lot of things around depending on whatever's on the schedule for the day. So it's not up and running as of right now, but yeah, this is the bottling line that we use. And all the brewing, all the bottling, all the packaging, everything is done right here on site. We opened up in May of 2019, and we started putting our brand and our beer on tap about July of 2019. Our brewing equipment was delayed about 180 days.
Oh, it was.
I still get people like, yeah, I went there one time and you guys didn't have your own beer. And we're like, yeah, well, we had to get the doors open. So, but yeah, now we're fully operational. And like I said, usually keep anywhere from 12 to 13 beers on tap, and then also distributing, statewide. So,
okay. 12 to 13 on tap at any given moment.
Yes, most of the time.
And that kind of rotates depending on the season.
So we have about 5 to 6 different flagships that we keep on tap year round. And then everything else is usually a seasonal tap.
We've had his beer. We've seen where he works. We should take just a moment to actually meet Dan, the brewer.
Hi, I'm Dan, the brewer.
Perfect. Like, my family comes from an agricultural background. We still have a family farm today. And, so that was a huge draw for me to come to Fields Ivy because it has an agricultural background and backbone to it. So taking Kansas beer, or taking Kansas grain to make Kansas beer, I think is just super impressive. And I think it's very innovative. It's almost, somewhat self-sustaining, and the brewing industry is just like always reminded me of like the farming community. Like growing up, like our wheat harvest wasn't done when we were done cutting wheat. Like
Right.
it was done when we were done cutting wheat and our neighbor was done cutting wheat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the brewing industry reminds me a lot of. Like people help each other out. People are very friendly, always willing to lend a hand. You know, in my opinion, having 5-6 breweries in Lawrence is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that we have really quality beer in this community, and that I can send people that come to Lawrence for craft beer to all these different locations, and that's what it should be. People should be rooting each other on, and that's what it means to me, at least. So all those summers cutting wheat with Grandpa, like he's probably looking down right now, and now we're taking Kansas wheat to make Kansas beer. I think he would sit down and drink a cold one with me, so it's very cool.
We've been talking a lot about beer, but how much do you really know about beer? Did you know that there are only 2 types of beer out there, lagers and ales? You can split lagers into 4 different types: pale lagers, pilsners, dunkels, and bocks. And ales, also 4 different types: wheat, pale ale, porter, and stout. The style of any given beer is generally determined by the fermentation process. Lagers are made with one strain of yeast, and ales are made with a different one. Lagers are also typically fermented at a cold temperature, whereas ales are fermented at warmer temperatures. But what are the differences among all these different kinds of beer? Let's start with an amber. An amber can be an ale or a lager, but both styles are named because of their amber color. A bock is a kind of lager that translates as goat in German. An IPA is an India Pale Ale. It's a hoppy brew that's really popular, as Derrick was saying, among craft beer drinkers. Kolsch is a beer hybrid using both ale and lager brewing techniques. The result is light, refreshing, and easy to drink. A true Kolsch has to come from Cologne, Germany. Otherwise, you've just got sparkling alcohol water. Pale lager is the most popular kind of beer in America. Easy drinking, light to medium hops, clean malt taste. Pale ale is a deep gold to light brown to copper kind of beer. Variety of flavor notes from floral to citrus, depending on the types of hops used. Pilsner is a kind of lager that originated in the Czech Republic and has since become one of the most popular beers in the world because of its well-balanced taste. A porter is a dark beer said to take its name from street and river porters, who were manual laborers in England who drank this kind of dark ale in the early 18th century. They're known for their dark brown color and sweet baked good notes. Sour beers are named for their tart, funky flavors. You either love these or you hate them. It's hard to pin down exactly what they taste like, but they all taste sour. Wheat beers are very popular. The American wheat beer is light, bready, and a bit citrusy. Belgian white is spiced with coriander and orange peel, and German wheat is typically very yeasty with banana and clover flavors. And here's my very favorite kind of beer. It's a stout. If you can't see light through it, it's a stout, and it's the beer for me. What is your favorite style of beer? We're going to put a poll up, and you can vote for your favorite.